Good morning, everybody. So I'm coming on quick. I just wanted to show you what I'm up to today. This is my first time this year, and I won't be doing a lot because we didn't have a garden. Dehydrating. We got celery on sale a week or so ago for 99 cents a bunch. And I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, it was almost up to $7, and I have no idea what it's going to be this winter. So we bought, I think I've done 2 bunches. I have one more bunch I'm going to do that we already have. I may do more than that. And they were 99 cents. So I'm sorry, and it was good looking celery, nice big stalks. So even if you don't have a garden, like I said, if you don't have 40 acres, start with doing what you can do. And so when you get produce on sale, buy it up. And this is just one method that you could preserve it for the winter. You could also cut it up and throw it in the freezer. If you don't have a dehydrator, you can use an oven. So I used my Pampered Chef mandoline to chop up all the celery. I did 2 bunches in just a few minutes. I love it because it chops it uniformly, it chops it quickly, and I can put it quite a bit through at a time. Do not forget to use the guard to protect your fingers when it starts getting low. And I'm going to get ready to put it on my trays. I'm also dehydrating the leaves of the celery, and I'll show you how that turned out. I will use it in seasonings. I put them on the trays uniformly in 1 layer deep. You don't want them overlapping. They do dehydrate quite a bit, so it doesn't matter if they're touching, just don't want them layered. Anyway, I just want to show you what I've got in here so far. So this is my dehydrator. We've had it for a long time. I haven't used it a lot, I'm not gonna lie. We have dried peppers and stuff in it, hot peppers, jalapenos, and after they were smoked. But here, this is 2 bunches of celery. So I've cut it up into uniform pieces, and I used my Pampered Chef mandoline, and it is great. I would have used the food processor, but with my food processor, I have to, it won't run unless the plunger thing is down partway in the chute. And so that means I would have had to cut all my celery in about 2 or 3 inch pieces to put it through the food processor. This took me seconds. I just put it through the mandoline. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to check it out. It does amazing slices, makes great French fries, and what I really like is julienne carrots and other vegetables. Actually, now that I have that, I julienne other things in my salad. I don't like big chunks of carrot. I don't even like slices. But you can have 8 different settings of thickness that you can use for each setting, French fries, julienne, or slicing. And so I julienne my carrots all the time for my salad. But anyway, let's get back to what I'm doing right now. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4 trays full of sliced up celery. So like I said, they're uniformly sliced. I've put them 1 layer thickness on the trays, mostly. I think I probably missed a couple, but I space these trays. This will hold 9 trays, but I have not got that many filled, so I space these space in between. I could have put another tray in the middle because they're a little thick and they contain a lot of water. So I just felt it might give it more airflow since I didn't need all 9 trays anyway. On the bottom tray, it's not spaced too deep, but I just cut up the leaves. And so I'm going to dry the leaves as well, and they're going to dry a lot quicker, so I didn't mind having them just right next to the tray above. So I know for celery, a lot of the things I've read, it can be dehydrated at a temperature of 135 degrees for 6 to 8 hours is what they said. You have to keep checking it because there's a lot of variables depending how thick it is, how much moisture was in it to start with. I'm actually going to do it at 105, and it is going to take a longer time. But from the things I've read, 105 is the temperature you want to dehydrate at if you want to preserve the live enzymes and nutrients in the food. You do preserve a lot of nutrients just dehydrating even at a higher heat, but 105 will preserve a lot of the enzymes that we need in our bodies, that we get when we eat food raw. But if you want to store it over the winter, you can't leave it raw. So dehydrating it at 105 degrees will preserve those enzymes. And I want to show you my settings. So like I said, this is an Excalibur dehydrator, and it's got spray paint on it. It is a 9 tray. It has a drying guide right on top of the machine, which is cool because then I can't lose it. So I'm using that Living Foods temperature. You can proof bread in it, you can make yogurt in it, you can just, the 135 is what you would, some people recommend for vegetables, fruit rolls, meats and fish and jerky. And then on this side, so I'm setting the temperature at 105, and I'm going to put the timer on probably for 12 hours, and then I'll check it partway through for 12 hours. And we'll be back. I love celery. It's one of my favorite things. I like it raw. It's incredibly good for you. There's so many health benefits. I can't remember them all right now because I don't have a great memory to start with, but they are very good for you. So I like it. A lot of my kids don't. They like the flavor, but not the texture. So when these are dry, I'm going to use some of them. I'm just going to put them in jars the way they are, throw them in soups and stews. But some of them, in fact, probably a lot of them, I'm going to make sure they're good and dry, and I'm going to grind it into powder so we can use the flavor without getting the texture of the strings and whatever. I was going to make celery salt, and I might make a little bit, but just to shake on, like I like it just on my mashed potatoes on my plate, or vegetables or salad or whatever. But I'm not going to do much because I can always put salt on after. I just want the concentrated celery powder so that I know that's what it is. If I had a garden this year and if it comes on sale, I may do it yet. I would like to dehydrate a bunch of greens and make a green powder that, we've often drank green powders, and some I liked and some I had to choke down. But I would even put it in soups and stews or muffins or something. But we'll see. That might be a next year product. I got a lot on the go right now. As you can see, my place is getting empty. Had to keep a few plants out. Just everything is getting packed up. This couch isn't coming, but we need in the meantime because Gotti has to have somewhere to sleep. So yeah, we're getting boxes packed, things sorted. So I really have enough to do this year, I think. So maybe next year, we'll see. In the meantime, I am learning all kinds of things, watching all kinds of videos, getting prepared for whatever comes my way. All the plans and hopes that I have for gardening and that kind of thing. Like, I've never had a really good garden or a big garden and never worked it much myself. If you want to watch a really good show about gardening, homesteading, starting from nothing, it's Roots and Refuge Farm, and I'll link their YouTube channel down below. And her name is Jess, and she has so much wisdom, not just about gardening, but just about life. And one of her comments is, use your waiting room as a classroom. So while you're waiting, keep learning, keep exploring, keep planning, keep dreaming. Use it as a classroom so that when the green light goes and you begin to move into what you've been waiting for, I mean, yes, you're still going to make mistakes, and a lot of stuff you learn by doing, but at least if you have some idea of what you should be doing or plan, you know, one of the things is, I don't care how big my property is going to be, I'm not going to do a huge garden the first year. I'm going to do a smaller garden and experiment with things I have grown before and add a couple new things. For one, it will be a different climate for me. So I'm going to learn as I go. I'm not going to get overwhelmed. I want it to be manageable, because planting the garden and looking after it is one thing. Preserving and using all the produce when everything starts coming at once, that's another thing. So there's no point growing it if I'm going to let it rot in the field, because it's too much for me to do. Anyway, so just a thought. So I don't know. I guess really what I want to focus on with this video is, you don't have a garden. I don't have a garden. And I'm not, you know, it's kind of expensive even sometimes going to the farmers. I do it, but it hurts sometimes, and I don't begrudge them, not at all. They work hard. But when you can get a sale, you know, oftentimes we use a lot of frozen tomatoes because, you know, in sauces and stuff, I don't like canned sauce. Even in the winter, if there's a really good deal on tomatoes, we'll buy them, wash them, throw them in freezer bags and put them in the freezer. And then I just blend them in the blender when I need them. So anything you can find on sale, this is the perfect time of year for carrots, onions, celery, beets, squash, like all those things. Be looking out for what you eat. Don't buy stuff just because it's on sale if nobody in your family likes it. But whatever you would want to use in the winter, and you can find it on sale now, you can find a way to preserve it. It doesn't have to be complicated. The very simplest being freezers. You can cut onions, you can cut celery, carrots, all those things. They can be frozen. Some things you need to blanch first, and I don't know what those are. Pretty sure carrots you would have to. But anyway, you can look it up. Look it up. See what you think you'd like to be on the lookout for, and start reading about it now, how you would preserve it, what you can do to keep it over the winter. Anyway, I got to get busy. Still have a lot to do, and not highly motivated, but that's kind of typical. Anyway, have a good day, guys. I'll show you when they're done. Okay, so this is the final result. So these are dry. They still seem a little more pliable to me than I think they should. But I'm going to put them in the jar, and then you have to do what's called conditioning. And that's actually something I had never heard of. But apparently it's important. So we're going to try it. So what that involves is taking this celery and then putting it in a jar and putting the top on, and then leaving it out on the counter for a week. And every day you kind of shake it around, let it get mixed up, and then watch. And if you see any moisture in that jar, it needs to go back in the dehydrator. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just not totally convinced these are dry enough, and that will let me know. As soon as I see any moisture at all, they will go right back in. Now it's dehydrated for about 18 hours on that lower temperature. So yes, that seems like a long time, and if you want to speed it up, you can do the 135, but it's really important to me to keep the enzymes and stuff intact as much as possible. So this is the jar of the celery pieces. And this is what I was talking about conditioning. So this is those 4 trays of cut up pieces down into this one jar. So this has been in here since yesterday, and I'm going to keep it in this for about a week. So far I haven't seen any moisture forming on the jar, so I think we're good, but we'll have to wait. And this is what we started with. And this is the celery leaves. I didn't do it small, I didn't powder it, I just crushed it up a bit. I got that and this out of those leaves. So they're gonna taste good in lots of things. Anyways, today I am really busy. I'm making freezer pickles because we were given some cucumbers. They're bigger cucumbers, so I couldn't really jar them. I like my dill pickles, small cucumbers. So I'm going to slice these up, and I've made these once a long time ago in when we lived up north the first time. And they are actually a freezer pickle, and you put them in like margarine container type things, containers to freeze in. And they actually, I was so surprised, they stayed really crisp and flavorful. I don't understand how that works. So I'm going to do them. They're kind of like a bread and butter type pickle. So that's part of my agenda today. I have a 10-pound, sorry, that's killing my shoulder. A 10-pound bag of beets that I have to do something with today. We're going to have some for supper. But I'm actually thinking of slicing and drying some of those and grinding them into a powder, again for smoothies or putting gravies or whatever. I'm just not looking forward to how they're going to stain my plastic. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'll have to think about that one. Anyway, hopefully it's going to be a productive day. I got most of my kitchen packed yesterday of anything that I don't use regularly so that I'm not having to unpack stuff when I realize I actually need it. I think we're going to clean out the front closets today. Like, you would think with the amount of shoes we have in that closet, there's 25 people living here, so some of those are going to go. There's coats and stuff that nobody's worn in forever still hanging in there. So yeah, it's going to be another sort and purge day. And yeah, so that's my day. And I'm making supper, and I think we're inviting my son and his girlfriend over as well. So it's going to be busy. I need to get going. Have a good day, guys.